As a new developer, there's an important skill you need to have, the skill of asking questions. Now, first tip, don't ask to ask, just ask. I've encountered this so many times with developers. You know, people send me a message and say, "Can I ask you a question?" Why? That's already a question. That's already a question you're asking me. At the time of the visit to answer the main question, the real question, I'm using that time to answer this particular question now. So I go, yes. Cool. You'd expect that the person will ask the question. Now I've given you the permission to ask me. You've already asked a question, right? You don't need permission to ask a question in the first place. You ask a question, requesting for permission to ask a question. Don't you think that sounds somehow? So after I say, yes, go on. Then the next thing is, have you used Python before? I should answer that, right? Okay, so let's say it takes me like 5 hours to answer a question, to reply a DM. And after 5 hours, I say, yes, I've used Python. You've still not asked the question you asked. You have a problem, and you want me to help you out with it. And then the next one is, have you used this particular framework in Python? And after that, I answer, yes, I've used it. And have you used this tool with this particular framework in Python? Like, come on, just go straight to the point. This has happened to me. Just go straight to the point. Ask me the question. If I don't know it, I'll tell you I don't know it. And if I know it, I'll help you out. Fine. In the first place, you shouldn't ask to ask. Like, don't request to ask a question. You're already asking a question. So use that time to just go straight to the point, ask a real question. And if the person, has the answer, he or she will give you the answer. And if not, they can reference a resource for you, or reference someone else, or tell you they don't know simply. So that's an important skill you should learn. You should just go straight to the point when asking questions. Don't beat around the bush, just hit it, ask the question. The next one is even asking the questions at all, because I know this is a huge barrier for so many new developers, right? The thing that that makes people do that in the first place is they don't think they should ask the question, right? Am I qualified to ask this person this question? Is he going to laugh at me? Is he going to take it kindly? Is he going to mock me? Is he going to feel like I don't know anything? So then start going through all that process to get themselves familiar with the person. You shouldn't have to go through all that. You should learn to ask a question in the first place, right? I'd rather you do all that process, ask this, can I ask question, and have used this and have used that, than not ask at all, right? That's better than just closing your mouth. You need help, you're stuck, and then you're just there. You decide to just leave everything and go. You're stuck in a particular thing, you're trying to solve a problem, you're trying to fix something, and instead of asking for help, you just leave it and stay stuck for days, weeks, months, and finally, nobody agreed to help me. There was someone I spoke with recently, and he said no one agreed to help me. When people say that, how many people did you ask? Not really. Then someone else, how many people did you ask? I asked 3 people. You asked 3 people, and that means no one agreed to help you. There are millions of developers out there, and you ask 3 out of the millions of developers, and automatically no one agreed to help you. So first of all, you should learn to ask questions. Don't stay stuck when you can ask for help. I mean, that's just, to me, that I see that as ego, that's pride. You need help. You can ask someone for help. You have a person you can ask for help. You can send someone a DM. You can ask for help, but then you're refusing to do that just because you want to do it all by yourself, and then one day you've not done it, 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, you've not done it, and at the end of the day you end up abandoning it. So that's not cool. So learn to ask questions. That's the reason you should ask questions is people feel like, is he going to think I don't know anything? Is he going to think I don't? No, look, you're not the only person who does not understand. Yeah, like you're not the only person who does not understand a particular thing, right? You're not the only person. Let's say you're understanding slowly. You're not the only person who's understanding it slowly, or who's not understanding at all. You're not the only person who's not getting it right the first time. You're not the only person who's forgetting things. You're not the only one. The majority of developers have gone through that phase and are still going through that phase, the phase of not understanding fast enough. Not understanding fast, being super slow learners, the phase of forgetting and forgetting and forgetting. So you're not alone. right? You shouldn't feel like, oh, I'm the only one. If I ask this question, then they'll think I'm dumb. No one's going to think you're dumb, because the same way you're asking me a question, I'm asking someone else a question, and that person is asking someone else a question. We grow by helping each other, right? You seek help, you get it, and then you seek help, you get it, you give help, and so on. That's how I've grown in this field, because I've never said to myself, I'm not going to ask questions. My colleagues know me and friends and so on. But if I need help and I know that you can offer that help, I'll ask you, hey, have you worked with this particular technology before? I want to do this. Can we? I ask the person can either send me an answer, I send the person a screenshot, or we have a call and the person helps me out in figuring things out. That's the way it should be. And then when someone else needs my help in a particular thing, the same process. I answer you, refer you to a resource, have a call with you. I've had a call with several new developers explaining things to them. So that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. It's the way of life. As a developer, you should learn to ask questions. Don't be scared. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And then when you're asking questions, it's good you go straight to the point, because many times when you ask questions, they ask the person who you've asked is going to ask you, like, what have you done concerning this? Have you tried something and are you getting an error? What's the error you're getting here? So it's good you've tried something and then you're asking with specifics, right? I tried to do this and then at this point it did not work. Look at the error I'm getting here. Or that's one way. You're getting an error message, right? And then you go straight to the point. This is the error I'm getting. Have you come across this before? Do you know how I can handle this? Or let's say you want to do something and then you don't know how to handle it or how to go about it, and then you say, I want to implement this. Please, how can I go about it? So can you point me to any resource? These are the different ways. You don't just ask, I tried to do this and it did not work. And there you go. Oh, I'm trying to run my code and it's not working. My code is not working. What is not working in your code? When I've taught hundreds of people software engineering, physically and online. So a lot of students will come and they are like, my code is not running, my code is not working, I'm just seeing error. So what's the error? It's just showing error. It's just showing error. I'm seeing error. Yeah, I know you're seeing it. What's the error? What's the error message? There's an error message. It's not just, it can't just be error. Like, there's no time a console will just tell you error. So there's an error message. What's it? Go to this, go to the specifics. Ask the question, I tried to do this and this is the error I'm getting. Do you know how I can handle it? First of all, the person will ask, have you tried Google? Many people ask, have you tried Google? And that's another important part. So you get an error message. Many people don't know this. Surprisingly, you can just take out that error message and search for it on Google, and you see people who have probably gone through that same thing or come across that same error message, and you might find help there. If not, then you ask a person. So if you don't understand the answers you're getting from there, you ask a person and so on. So people usually ask, right, what have you tried and what's the error message you're getting? Have you checked on Google or Stack Overflow? Then you're asking me now, what exactly are you asking me? What do you want me to do for you? Do you want to implement something? How can I implement this? And I want to build an application, for mobile phones now, for mobile devices. Can you recommend any technology that I can use? That can be a specific question. It's better than saying, how can I build applications? That's vague, right? What kind of applications do you want to build? Or how? You just try to go to the specifics when asking questions. So first of all, don't ask to ask. When you ask, we want to ask someone for help. Ask the person for help. Like, someone called me yesterday and he was asking me, do you have any favor left to share, to give? I said, no, I don't have any favor to give. And someone asked me, do you have time for my question? No, I don't have time for your question. I'm busy. Do you have the time to answer my question? No, I'm busy. Right? But then you ask a question straight to the point. Straight up. You ask the question straight up, and then I have the time to answer that question, likely. So those are the different things. Do you have any favor to give? Of course, no, I don't. Don't bother asking. But then you just ask for the help straight up, and then the person considers, if it's no, it's no. If it's yes, it's yes. And you say, can I ask you a question? I don't know what question you want to ask me. Can I ask you for help? I don't know what the help is. So you're now putting me in a terrible position, so that if I reply yes, it means I have to help you. No, you can't ask me for help. That's a joke. You can ask me for help. Okay, but then be specific. Go straight to the point. How can I do this with this? Have you tried it? And you should try not to ask questions that can easily be answered on Google also. Like asking someone how many programming languages are there. Like you have the time to send someone a DM on Twitter, how many programming languages are there? And then you can't search for that on Google. It's a different scenario when you're with a person, right? It's in a physical class, or it's in a class where you're interacting with the person, or you're with the person personally and ask a question. That's different. But if you have the time to type on Twitter, that message you type on Twitter can it be answered on Google? Yeah. That's the thing. Learn to ask questions, and then ask questions the right way. It'll help you. We grow by asking questions. We grow by helping each other. This is not a one-man thing. You can't be a lone ranger here. Ask for help. You give help. That's how we all grow. That's how I grew. That's how a lot of others have grown, and that's how you should grow, because that's a very good way to grow. And another way you should grow is by subscribing to this channel and smashing that like button, because it helps the channel. Actually, it's quite interesting that people don't know, but it helps the channel when you subscribe and hit the like button. Help me, please.